Airing Tuesday, April 22nd on ABC, The Rookie Season 7, Episode 15 sees the return of a beloved character. A Deadly Secret is filmed in the style of a true crime documentary, continuing the procedural's long-running tradition. The installment focuses on the disappearance of Abigail, who is initially introduced in Season 2, Episode 5 as Henry's fiancée. Despite how stable Henry and Abigail's relationship previously appeared, Nolan reveals to the director that they are no longer together. The episode also features a major step forward for Chenford when the exes realize they've come into contact with sodium pentothal, commonly known as truth serum. Tim admits that he broke up with Lucy because it was the worst way he could punish himself, a lesson ingrained in him by his abusive father. While Lucy has struggled to look past Tim's actions, she admits that she's already forgiven him, surprising even herself with the confession, Alexi Hawley, he did. The true crime documentary is one of my favorite things, but yet it's also really challenging. He was coming to direct that one, and I wasn't really happy with where the script was, partly because it just felt like we'd done it before, even with all the twists and turns. So he and I landed on this idea that I was there to make one documentary, which then got torpedoed by something happening in real time, and therefore that became what the documentary was about, which I thought was super fun as an idea. And then this year we really wanted to lean into this sort of ghost huntery horror movie vibe, which we hadn't done before, and it came together really great. Alexi Hawley, ultimately, Madeline Coughlin, who plays Abigail, is also a writer on the show starting last season. And Maddie is a phenomenally talented actor and writer, and she actually directs as well. She's a triple threat. And so we had been looking for a way to get her back as a character. She was with us in the early days, and it just felt like, ultimately, the Henry-Abigail relationship had sort of played its course, and she wasn't at the wedding in episode 100, and it just sort of felt like a little bit of explaining that away. But it was a really fun way to make the true crime episode personal for Nolan and then get to showcase Maddie some more. Alexi Hawley, yeah, I mean, who knows? The world is a very strange place. I love that we have characters like Selena, and in some ways, Lopez, who believe in good and evil. They believe in that kind of stuff. So that's always fun. Alexi Hawley, that was fun. It all started with the Daddy Cop, which was Glenn Mazzara, who, at the time was a writer-producer for us. He had pitched me this idea of Nolan and Selena pull over a car at a traffic stop in front of a garage band who then starts to mock them in song. And so I immediately called Xander because he's a really phenomenally talented singer-songwriter and pitched him the thing. And by the next morning, he'd basically written Daddy Cop, and it was great, and so it all fell into place magically. And then ultimately, because it worked so well, we wanted to bring it back, which we did for the 100th. And then I was just trying to figure out, how do we do this again? And it occurred to me just the sort of out-of-contextness of seeing this character Rog with the whole, come meet the new guy I'm dating, and then it was him, and Nolan's like, you look familiar. It all just felt super fun. And then to get him in, and he and Eliseth, who plays Selena, just have great, fun chemistry. It was all a joy. Alexi Hawley, it's not real time, but there's a scene, I think it's a few episodes before, where she told him in the car that she hadn't fully forgiven him yet. So I think it's between those two moments is where she really subconsciously made her peace finally with forgiving him. And so what I loved about that moment is that it was a revelation to her as well. Because of the truth serum, she discovers that she has actually finally forgiven him for everything, which I think was really a moment we've been building towards. I just love that it happened a little bit more like, Alexi Hawley, I think that's part of it for sure. I think there is an obstacle that's very real that needs to be addressed. And I also think that, in theory, down the road, there could be some trepidation or fear about, what if it's not like it was before? I think it's not quite as easy as, pass the sergeant's exam, bam, we're back together again. But I do think, obviously, the story we've been telling this season is that the desire has been proven to be there, but once it's real, what's it going to be if it happens? John Nolan, once the oldest rookie in the Lapt, has used his life experience, determination, and sense of humor to keep up with rookies 20 years his junior. Now recovering from a gunshot wound and feeling the effects of his age, John and the team welcome two new rookies and continue the hunt for two dangerous escaped prisoners who have very personal vendettas.